before you post an ad or before you do your searching or send out those crazy AI emails to 1,000 candidates or whatever it is you're going to do, there's really four things that you need to be clear on. First, who do you need and why? The next one is your timeline. When do you need them hired? I know a lot of times we say yesterday, but sometimes you really need a specific goal so you can stay on target and on that timeline. Number three, capital and velocity. Do you have the budget? And can you execute fast when you find them? And I think number three, we can pause there for a moment because oftentimes I see people when they aren't ready to hire, they don't necessarily have the budget. And so they try to hire somebody for cheaper than what they should. And sometimes that result doesn't turn out well, or they have the budget, but they go too slow and they lose that great person. So need to have those. And then number four, do you know how to verify the right fit for your role, the candidate fit? How do you figure out who that right person is? And so most founders think hiring a salesperson instantly gives them their time back. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it actually creates even more work than you had before because now you're managing somebody who's struggling in a broken setup. So let's find out which one you are. Grab a pen. I'm going to ask you 5 rapid fire questions. Just write 1 through 5 and then yes or no next to each one. Super, super simple. First off, repeatable demand. Do you have or do you know the exact triggers and messages that get your prospective buyers to take a meeting? Do you know what those triggers are? Or are you expecting the rep to just kind of figure out the strategy for you? So do you have this down, yes or no? Number 2, leads sitting past 24 hours. So this is a tough one. Do you have qualified leads waiting a day or more for a reply from you because you're tied up in product or you're tied up in operations or working with the team? If so, you're already paying a sales rep. You're just paying it in lost deals instead of paying it in payroll. The third one, can anybody else run a call and close a deal without you jumping in to save it? If every single deal requires you on the call, you're not replacing yourself. You're just paying somebody to schedule your calls, and it's an expensive person to schedule those calls for you. The fourth one, this is documented process. You don't need a complex 80-page playbook here, but at a bare minimum, you need at least 3 recordings of your best demos, plus a breakdown of how you run discovery, follow-up, send proposals, etc. If a new hire can't watch you sell and see your workflow because everything lives in your head, you don't have a process that they can replicate. So do you have this mapped out? Yes or no? And then the last one, is your pipeline tracked clearly in a CRM or is it scattered across notes in your inbox and sticky notes all over the desk? A new rep can't execute if they can't see what's happening. So count up your yes answers. If you put a 1 or 2, don't feel bad at all. You just literally saved 25 grand in a bad hire. That's assuming that, let's say the salary was 100,000 and let's say that they lasted 3 months before they didn't work out. If you were a 4 or a 5, you're ready to hit the gas. So once your setup is ready, you have to decide what type of person you're looking for. And that really comes down to picking the right candidate profile. This is where I see a lot of people stumble. Do you need an architect or do you need an operator? So an architect is somebody who comes in and builds the playbook and everything from scratch. An operator takes an existing playbook and just executes it. Neither one is better. They're just built for completely different stages. So a common mistake I see people make, especially founders, is hiring a rep who spent 3 years executing a playbook at a big company like HubSpot. They drop them into early stage startup chaos and the rep fails. Why? It's because they're an operator. They're waiting for a blueprint. They're waiting for resources that haven't been built yet. And if you don't have a proven playbook, you need an architect, someone who built it from scratch. So you need an architect or an operator for your next hire. Next thing you have to do is you have to get the order right. I get this all the time. Travis and Angie, should we hire an SDR first or should we hire an AE first? Which one do we need? You know, a lot of times when founders are drowning in sales calls, sometimes their first gut reaction is let's hire an SDR to book more meetings. But if your goal is to buy back your time, hiring an AE or account executive who can actually run the demos and close the deals for you is the way to go. Now, if you love closing deals and you generally have more calendar space to run 15 more demos a week and you love it, fine, hire an SDR and feed your pipeline. But if you're burnt out and trapped on Zoom calls all day, Hiring an SDR just doubles your demo load and locks you even deeper into doing more sales yourself. And on top of that, you're going to end up spending a lot of time coaching and training them. So whether you realize that you need an architect or an operator, an AE or an SDR, the next question is, how do you make sure you hire the right person? And here's the trap that I see people fall into sometime. How many of you ever looked at a resume with Salesforce, HubSpot, Gong, Oracle, and immediately thought, this person knows how to sell? Before I keep going, is anybody thinking, wait a minute, I actually want someone from Salesforce or HubSpot? I hear this all the time. There's a difference. If you take anything from this meeting, I'm going to give you two, and here's a big one. In a large company, you have a person that does the thing. In a small company, you are the person that does the thing. Think about that. At a big corporate company, the rep has someone booking meetings for them, someone else helping them run technical demos, somebody else handling legal contracts, a marketing team to get the doors open. You drop them into an early stage company where they have to be the person doing everything themselves and they get stuck. By the way, this works both ways. I've seen startup reps really struggle in Fortune 500 companies too. They're just different environments. So before you hire anybody, look at these 4 real world checks. Deal size, first off. Selling a $5,000 product on a 20-minute call with a one call close is not the same as selling a $50K contract that takes 6 months and 3 approvals. It's just a totally different skill set. Sales motion. If your rep needs to pick up the phone and hunt for business, don't hire somebody that spent the last 3 years taking inbound leads. They're just totally different. Your target buyer, have they actually sold to the person you sell to? Selling to a doctor, completely different conversation than selling to like a general contractor. You need really somebody who knows how to talk to your specific buyer. And then the support level. Are they used to having an entire department behind them? Or can they just roll up their sleeves, write their own emails, run their own demos, and get it done? So here's the GSD rule on compromise. You probably aren't going to find a candidate who is a perfect 10 out of 10 for all 4 of these within your budget. The one thing you never, ever, ever compromise on is sales motion. You can teach a hungry hunter your product. You can teach them about your buyer all in 30 days. You can't teach a rep who is used to easy inbound leads to go out and hunt from scratch, and the opposite is true. Somebody who's hunted their whole life is going to struggle with inbound leads. They're not used to how quick you have to work them. They're different motions. Write these 4 down before you interview and think about that. I want to leave you at the golden rule. Everyone needs to hear it when interviewing. If you absolutely love a candidate after an interview, get them to the next step as fast as humanly possible without breaking process. Great salespeople just don't stay on the market long. But, and here's the pain point, if you're on the fence with someone, they're a solid no. Almost everybody has been on the fence with a candidate. We talked ourselves into thinking maybe we can coach them up and get them there, and it didn't work. So think about that before you get your next hire. And to wrap this up, some of you realize today you shouldn't hire a sales rep just yet. You need to document your process, clean up your pipeline first. It's a huge win. You just save thousands of dollars. Others of you realized you've been entering the wrong profile entirely, and that's fixable.